it's Nico from Documenting Simple Living, and today I'm going to talk about decluttering clothing. The reason I want to talk about this today is that I am in the process of decluttering our children's clothing because we are, as you know, if you follow this channel, expecting another child in the coming months. And I have a little sliver of time this afternoon to dedicate to going through some of our clothing. I thought I would film the process and give you 3 simple tips to declutter your own clothing. Now, the first tip right off the bat is to decide where you're going to declutter in your closet or in your drawers and just pull everything out. If you're like me and you have to do these sorts of things in slivers of time here and there, it might be totally overwhelming to think about emptying out your whole closet and doing it all in one fell swoop. And so what you can do instead is empty one drawer at a time or one shelf. Break it into smaller pieces to make it more manageable. But the goal is to have a completely empty drawer, empty closet, empty shelf, so you have a clean slate to go from. The next tip is to look at what you have in front of you and notice what you actually wear or what your kids actually wear. Sometimes we buy things that we would like to wear in theory because we want to, be that kind of person that wears that. We like the look of it, we like the fabric, we like the pattern, it was a trendy thing maybe, but then when we actually put it on, it just doesn't fit right, the color doesn't work for us. There's just something that is off about it. And what that can mean is that we hold on to it, but we never wear it. It's just in our closet, we see it, we are reminded that we spent money on it, so we don't want to get rid of it. But it's this constant sort of mental drag that, we're annoyed that we spent money on it, but it doesn't fit, so we don't wear it, and we just have it. And it's like a cycle that keeps repeating itself. So it's really important as a first step to start to make it conscious what you actually wear, what you're drawn to. Once you kind of figure out what those things are that you're always going to, make a pile of those and keep those separate. The next tip is to look at what is remaining in the pile of clothing and pull out things that you haven't worn in the last season. So for example, we're just coming out of winter, entering into spring. When you look at the clothing in front of you, are there things that are meant for winter that you didn't ever wear over the past winter? That's a red flag that maybe there's something about those pieces of clothing that just isn't something that you feel comfortable wearing. So pile the clothing that you didn't wear over the past season in a separate pile. The Minimal Mom on YouTube has a concept that she calls the Time Will Tell bin. And what I would recommend you do with this pile of clothing that you haven't worn over the last season is put them into a bin and put them into storage if you have the space to do this, and hold on to them through the next season. So for example, clothing you didn't wear in winter this year, hold on to them through winter next year. And if you still don't miss them or you forget that you even had them, it's a really clear sign that you don't need them, you don't want them, and you can either donate them or try to resell them or whatever. This is a really low risk way of decluttering because if you miss anything, you can always just go back into the bin and pull it out. So after you've separated things that you know you're drawn to, things that you know you're not drawn to, you're bound to have a few remaining pieces. And these are things that might be sentimental, or they might be pieces from another time in your life. So for example, my pre-pregnancy clothing is from a different season of life. And so those are things that I'm not going to get rid of or declutter because I know I'll start wearing them again. So I'm going to pile those up and put them back in my closet. But for things that are more sentimental, this is where you need to be a bit more strict with yourself. But what you can do is limit yourself to a small area of storage to put sentimental things into that you don't want to get rid of. So if you have baby clothes from some of your children, or t-shirts, or something that you're really tied to but you don't wear, if you can just minimize how much space you allow yourself to fill with those sentimental things and then presumably put them into storage. That way at least it's not overwhelming. When we put things into storage, we oftentimes just forget that we have them, and that means that we're storing things but for no value to ourselves, just taking up space. And of course it is something you have to eventually manage, because if you move houses, you'll have to move that stuff. If you have a flood or something, you're gonna have to worry about that stuff. So it's worth knowing and being very intentional about what you're putting into storage, even if it is sentimental. If you think that you're really tied to something, but you don't know if you need to store it in that sentimental bin, you can always just use the Minimal Mom's time will tell bin tactic again. So put those sentimental things into the time will tell bin, put it away, give it, however much time, a few months, 6 months. And if you don't even think about it, then that's a sign that maybe you can get rid of it. My final tip is about moving forward. So when you're buying new things, as you are clearing out things that you know you don't want to wear, or piling up things that you always gravitate toward, make a note in your phone of what it is about those things that you like or you dislike. And so next time you're shopping and you're tempted to buy something, or you're not sure if you should buy something, you can quickly scan what you already know that you won't wear to rule that out. And similarly, you can make a note in your phone of things that you know you will wear. So what are you often drawn to? And that way you'll just make it conscious in your mind, the things that you know you will wear. So when you're shopping, it makes it easier to decide if you should buy something. I hope these tips have been helpful for you, and I hope your decluttering is going well. If you have any other tips for decluttering clothing, please put them in the comments below, and consider signing up for the Documenting Simple Living newsletter. It's a community of people who are taking small steps to simplify their life in the modern world. If that's something you're interested in, please do consider subscribing. The link is in the description below. Thanks for stopping by today, and I will see you in the next Documenting Simple Living video.